Welcome to the first episode of the Transdemic podcast. Yes, a podcast by and for trans human beings and allies and everyone else who wants to come on down in this inclusive, exclusive space and be able to have some questions answered that you guys will eventually be sending in. Some important discussion, especially given the climate in this country as we speak right now, and all the things going on, not only due to the virus, not only due to the riots, not only due to the abuse allegations and all these things happening in our world right now, that have all helped to kind of just pull the veil off of some of the very pertinent and raw issues we all need to address as a country and as human beings together. This is what this podcast is for. We hope to be a little bit lighthearted for you. We don't want to be too down in the weeds, but this is the first episode, and I'm going to go ahead and let that fly. I don't know, right about now. So basically, I like today the topic, because I thought I've had a bunch of complicated feels about this, and just for everybody to know, I'm going to start the podcast right here. This is the Transdemic. We're going to call it the Trans fucking Demic podcast, and I plan, with or without you, but I hope with you, that you continue to be the co-host here. I don't like co-hosts. I want it to be like a 50-50 thing. So everybody listening, this is Bentley.
Hello, I'm Bentley, or you can call me Bendy.
That's a good one. Bendy is a good one.
Yeah, that's what
or Bend. What about Bend?
I've had Bent and Bendy, but Bend works as long as it's not Ben. Ben is unacceptable, but Bend is cool.
That's awesome. Well, you're Bentley, and pronouns
he, him,
and you are. I guess you identify as a male, a trans male, trans mask, all those things.
Yes, transgender male.
That's fantastic. And then you have Kris. That would be me, which it's so weird because I go by K-Death to all these weird people, and I hate that. Kris is odd when you call yourself. It's just a weird name. But yeah, she, her, trans woman. So we have a trans woman, a trans dude, trans girl, trans dude, and we're going to just talk about some of the crazy shit that's been going on in the world for trans people. But also, I don't want it to be that serious. But I wanted to bring up today's topic because I've had weird feels about it, and I don't know why. It's probably stupid, but like the introduction of masks. Like, I'm all about wearing a mask. I think everybody should be wearing a mask. That's my opinion. I know it's a hot topic right now, and I don't understand why people have a problem with it. Where do you stand on just like wearing a mask in the coronavirus days?
I think everyone needs to shut the fuck up and just wear the fucking mask.
Yeah, why not?
No question, like no ifs, ands, or buts. No saying that we're just like following like blindly. I don't care if it's a 1.0000001% chance that it helps. If it helps, it helps, and that's all that matters to me.
I would agree with that, and I don't see like why not. You know, like there's a lot of theories.
Yeah,
people are like freaking out.
Yeah, to prove a point, I didn't even post it on Facebook, but all week I hiked in the Phoenix sun in 100-degree weather 5 days in a row with a mask on.
And you're still alive.
And I didn't get CO2 poisoning or anything. Isn't that crazy?
And that's like the harshest climate to test a mask.
Yeah, it's hot. Like the trail that I hike on right now is a pretty high traffic trail, and I picked that one because there's a bunch of the high traffic means less snakes in theory. Yeah. But so I'm so close to people, there's no way in hell I'm going up there without a mask. Like you have to pass. There's no 6 foot when you're passing on a hiking trail.
No way. You just come up on somebody and it's either a snake or someone's germs. They're not wearing a mask.
I know. Either way, it's bad.
Gosh, good. Well, good. Okay, so if you're out there and you're wearing a mask, I thought that this was fucking interesting. I can't tell for me because I wear a mask everywhere when I have to go out in public. Unless it's a park, whatever, it's not, and there's not a ton of people, plenty of space, whatever. Yeah. But like indoors and all that shit. And I started to think, like as a trans person, like, and especially, and to preface this at the beginning, I think the whole passing thing for me, in my opinion, is irrelevant. Like I don't like to live up to like this people that are trans should have to pass and should have to live up to the cisnormative sort of perspective. And anybody that knows me, and so those people that don't know me, would know that like that's not. I see value in like honoring your authentic self, and I also see fucking days and have days where I want to fucking change everything and get it to align with the cisnormative shit. It's complicated, as trans people listening will know, and I'm sure it's complicated for you too.
It really is. Some days you're like, oh, I'm killing it, and then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh my god, the dysphoria is like drowning you.
Yeah. And see, in this well of it's not confusion. God, the cis people will run fucking rampant with that. Oh, they're confused.
Right? Not confused.
It's not confusion, but it's like a well of mixed emotions and feelings. But it's out of that, like when you wear masks, like for a trans woman, for me, it's like there's an element of this is great because, like, you know, it covers a lot of shit that could be a problem. Like if you're wearing, usually I have to wear makeup or something to cover beard stubble, whatever it is. And like, if you put on a mask, you don't have to do that because all they see, especially if it's a good mask, is like your eyes. So like really, that's kind of awesome. And then it's like, you kind of feel like you're hidden in a way. So like, I like that element of a mask. Has a mask for you had any effect on like your deal, like your transness, your dysphoria?
I think it's helped in a positive way for a few reasons. One, since I started T, I've had a ton of acne, and like no matter how much I wash my face and stuff, it just like I'm in puberty. So it's really, really nice that it covers my acne. But as far as passing goes, I've been doing like DoorDash delivery and Instacart and shopping and stuff, and being around a bunch of gross people because I need money. But the mask, I think it helps me because now that my voice is dropped, now no one can see my baby face and how I don't have any facial hair whatsoever, or like there's no 5 o'clock shadow or anything that's like there's clearly never been facial hair on that dude's face. So I think the mask really helps me with that because then you just hear the low voice, and I'm always wearing like a hat and like basketball shorts or whatever, and I think it really ties in with there's no question because it's hiding so much of my face.
This is a thing. So it's a thing. I think it's like this for a lot of trans people. So it helps. Okay, so it helps in that case for you. It's almost the opposite for me because it's like, okay, I can have the mask and this works. You'll get less stares and less heat with the mask. I do. But then, you know, you have to get to the point where you like have to talk. And then at that point, the mask becomes a bitch because then it's like, okay, if this in the random offshoot chance that this human being is perceiving me in a certain way or I'm passing or whatever that means, definitely when I speak, that's out the window. So that's been an interesting point of contention. Like, okay, I could do this, but now my voice is going to tick people off, which leads me to the next point of this whole passing thing becoming like this fucking Lego, like domino effect of like, you get one thing done and like it alleviates some dysphoria. Because a lot of this, for people that may not know, it's all internal first. Like, it's not like, at least in my opinion, and for me, to get things done would be for me first. Yeah. And then like to alleviate other people second, or like later. And so like, I find that like, as we get better at one thing, or one thing seems to pass, or maybe makes us more normative and people don't bother us as much, other things come up. Has that been happening as you've gone along in your journey as well?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's different all the time. Like before I started T, my voice was like my number one thing, and I'm agree. I'm the same. I'm doing all the changes and everything. Like for me, and everybody else comes very not. I wouldn't even say second. That's like way like whatever. Really? Like just like whatever. But so like my voice dysphoria was the worst, and my chest. I think those are my two worst. But then I binded for about a year before I started T, so that at least helped when I'm binding. That's helpful. And then from T, my voice dysphoria is gone. Except for the other day, last week I was videoing. I was editing a video, and my voice sounded so high in that video, I almost deleted all the whole video because it just sounded.
No way. Did it really to you in any way?
Yeah, it sounded so high compared to like normal days, and I've been editing a bunch of videos, so I hear my voice, and it just must have been a bad day for my vocal cords. But yeah, so now that's that's out there. Now it's more of my hips.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now every time I'm like, oh, well, my hips are never, that's something I can't even fix besides like getting toned. And
I was going to say, what can a trans guy really do for hips? It's,
get toned, but I'm lazy and I don't want to get toned. Like I'm not like looking to be one of those like ripped trans dudes. That's not my personality, or like that's not what I'm looking for. But the hips are just like, man, I might want to eat a little healthier just so my hip fat goes away.
And for people, again, I laugh because like people that don't know you, you eat extremely healthy from what I've seen. Like you don't eat shit.
Yeah.
So like I so
vegetables.
Yeah, what do you eat? Yeah, you eat like mostly because you can only eat so much, but like it's.
I had Thai curry today. That was good. Veggie Thai curry.
You eat a lot of hot sauce.
Oh, so much. Yeah.
Which I get now, because if you don't eat a lot of food, like a lot of different variation of food, hot sauce helps.
You gotta have that flavor.
You gotta have that. Well, I feel like I don't see, to me, like if I saw, and this is a great perspective too, between trans people, is like so much of our internalized shit is like magnified times like 1,000. Because you're there, even a week or whatever it was ago, your voice was definitely not, I wouldn't say high pitched. And now, I mean, and even when we did a podcast a while back, it sounded great. And it sounds deeper than a lot of fucking dudes. You hear guys with high pitched voices all the time.
All the time, yeah.
But it shows you like a lot about like how magnified our own internal shit is as we transition and kind of go on journeys.
It really is. And the thing that's wild to me is how every day it can be a little different too. That's one thing I'm still just like, I don't know if it's like that for you, but like some days there'll be like 100 things I can pick apart, and other days I'm like, no, we're getting there. Or if I look at old pictures, then I'm like, oh, there's actual progress, which I'm really bummed I don't have. I've done like a voice update every month.
Yeah.
And I like have them compiled together, but I had so much voices for you. I didn't do one pre-T. And to anybody listening, if you're going to take testosterone, you should really, really do the pre-T voice thing, because you'll want it later. And I regret that so much that I don't have that, because I have a 1 month on T, but I don't have like a pre-T voice update. And every time I do my voice update, I'm like, oh, that sucks.
You can't just use like an old interview from somewhere or something? I mean, I have one.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to do that, but I wanted it to stay the same, because all of them are like, hey, I'm Bentley and this is my voice, like whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted
that. Makes sense.
Yeah, but I was thinking yesterday when I was hiking what clip I could pick from somewhere to do that, but yeah, just not the same. But I wish I would have documented more, because then when I look back, I would see a lot more progress, and I have such little documentation, which I'm trying to get better at, but so it doesn't seem like I've had as much progress as I have actually had. If that
Wow. And then, but I can, and everybody else is probably, do people mention it to you? Like, I guess you don't. Do you have a lot of people that are in your life and like kind of following your journey, like in person?
Well, because of COVID, not necessarily in person, but I still like, I have people I talk to on the phone, and people that watch my YouTube and stuff, and they mention like how my voice has dropped or whatever. But this whole COVID thing's kind of messed up a lot of the human interactions. I know one friend I went hiking with, he said that my Zen is like, or I am Zen now, and I wasn't before. He's super manic, and he said like now my aura is like very chill.
How amazing is that? I've always, and it's funny because it's, again, just coming to be who you are does that. And I think you can get that with or without, tea and all that. I mean, that definitely helps. But yeah, I think,
well, I mean, I can tell in your like your photos, like from comparing those to from a couple years ago and stuff, how much more confidence you have just in even pictures and everything, or like seeing you play live.
Oh yeah.
When was that? That was was that October? September?
It's been a long time.
That was a long time. When was that? I don't even know. But like just the confidence level has just gone up for you too.
Mm-hmm. Which is hard, right? It's something to work on. Especially when you're transitioning in public. It's a tough, or going from one version of yourself to another in public is really hard.
especially when a bunch of people already like knew you, like, yeah, I mean, like, or just like even traveling, or you're hitting up bookers, like booking the summer tour that got canceled. It was so weird even booking some of those shows, because I was like, hey, it's the same dude, just like a different name and stuff, you know. But
it's like, oh, now you're gonna misgender me again because you misgender me before when I was there, and now you're fucking like, what the fuck is it, dudes? Figure this out.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but yeah, it is weird. Or just seeing, like, I can't even imagine now, because there won't be like the middle ground for my transition, because this summer I was kind of be like, hey, now we can kind of ease everybody on tour, like, into it. But now next time we tour, I'll probably have like a mustache and like top surgery and stuff because of how long all this shit's taking. So it's gonna be like, did y'all get a new drummer?
That's gonna be awesome. I'm really intrigued / fascinated by this mustache journey that you're on.
I can't wait. That's all I want. I don't want any other facial hair.
That's so funny. The little, I just keep thinking like a little cop stash for some reason. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like a little feathery fucking mustache that like milk gets stuck in. You can't drink milk.
I drink oat milk.
There you go, oat milk, some oat milk, and that'll be fun. Then you can feel what it's like to have food in your fucking mustache and beard.
Can't wait. I don't think I'll ever do the beard thing unless my chin keeps getting all weird, because it's like the Adam's apple pushed it out all weird.
Oh, you mentioned that. See, it's more stuff that you're like more aware of.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, no one sees that. I don't see shit that you're talking about. Like, not like that's like different. Not where it's like, oh my god, what the fuck.
Maybe in person I'll show you. I'll be like, look, it's a whole new chin. Like like a new chin moved in.
Well, that makes sense though, because that's partly what tea does, right? I mean, it doesn't change bone structure, does it? I don't think
it can if you do it younger than I.
Okay.
If you're like a minor, like 16, 17, it can change your like facial bone structure and stuff.
That's kind of exciting.
And stop your hips from sprawling out, which, man, I wish I would have. Like, the kids growing up nowadays are so lucky that they're like more aware of this stuff, because I would have totally been the one to ask for like puberty blockers and stuff if I would have like known it was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's always a tragedy of older transitioning kind of trans people. It's like all the shit we could have would have been able to have an experience.
Yeah. A question for you: I know you came out of what, 4 years ago now?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
How long were you like just dying to come out? Like, how was that? I've never really heard that.
I don't think dying to come out was like the term. It was more like, it was kind of like existential in a lot of ways. It was more like, and it sounds corny, but the music that and stuff and kind of who I was portraying, it became like a crossroads of like, I can't keep like being this person and like not, and saying that I'm being authentic and not really being authentic, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that makes total sense. Like that sort of just, it's really weird. Like, I just like, I've known, you know, and I'm sure you did, but it's all for a lot of people, it's hindsight. For me, it's hindsight, but like very clear. Like, I knew like a long time ago. And then when I met Jamie and everything, she knew within a year of us being together.
Oh, really?
Because shit just got out. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But back then there wasn't information really. I mean, there was, but it was really hard to find.
Yeah.
And the shit you found was like horrible. Like it was like, you know, porn sites and I just considered it to be like cross-dressing at the time. And so that's how Jamie, like, that's how we kind of dealt with it, was like this weird thing that I would do every now and then.
Oh, wow.
And so that went on for years. And so you can see how like also the burden of having another person involved in that. Yeah. And like having the secret.
Like, and assuming, yeah, she had to act differently around when other people were around, right? Because no one else knew. Yeah,
pretty much. And I didn't know to the extent, right? Like I thought it was just, you know, we'll just do this every now and then. And then it leads to the next thing and the next thing. And then it's like doing it more often. And then it became like going out like dressed. And then that's where it became like, I don't want, because, I don't remember where I was, but somewhere it was a significant point in our career. And like, I didn't want somebody to like out me.
Oh yeah.
And if I was like, if you see somebody on the weekend or something and you're out like dressed and like that could be horrible. And so, yeah, so all that just kind of led to like the point of like, I have to let people know. But I definitely wasn't dying to let people know. I was fighting it for a long time.
Nice. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, I mean, I'm glad you're out now, and that sucks that you like weren't. But that's cool that it wasn't like a life or death type vibe.
It could have been, yeah. Had it kept going longer, I think. Yeah. I think I feel that way more often nowadays, actually, to be honest, ever since, because as you know, probably, or you're learning, like being out is just the beginning. It actually gets harder. It
does. Yeah. And then explain it to people, and then you'll have it on Facebook, and then someone just like didn't get the memo, even though your name's changed on there, and then they still like dead name you. And it's like, yeah, it's a whole thing. Just like we got tagged. There was a radio station in France that gave us t-shirts when we were over there, and they asked us to take a picture in the shirts next to a cactus. And then I did. And at that time I was out. We toured with a band called Bad Idols over there. They're from Tennessee, but I was out to them, and I was out to everybody like at the shows as much as I could be. That was last August. But like I was out enough, but I wasn't using Bentley yet. And so when we got tagged in this picture next to the cactus, they tagged my dead name, and that was last month. So I like untagged myself from it on Facebook, but I just like was like, I don't really want to deal with telling them that. And it was just a whole, there's always something that you're like, oh, I got this. And then there's always another little thing.
Yeah, and that's one instance, right? Like this happens multiple times a day sometimes.
Yeah, multiple times a day. Also, I don't know if any other trans people have this, but sometimes I get dead name phantom, where I'm reading my emails, and for the most part, all my stuff is legally changed on my emails and stuff, and I'll read Bentley, and I will phantom read my dead name.
Wow.
Which is weird. I don't know if I've never heard of anyone else having that, but I don't know if that means that the name is like perfect for me, because I read it and like it feels like my name, but I'll read my dead name instead, even though it's not there.
That's crazy. I've never heard of that.
Multiple times a day.
That's funny.
It freaks me out.
That's kind of funny.
I was like, they dead name me, and then I read it, and I'm like, no, they didn't. Like, what am I thinking?
That says a lot. Yeah, it's that internalized shit. Like you're kind of seeing shit that's not. You're literally seeing shit that's not there.
Literally, it's creepy.
It's funny because I've been dealing with so much. I have to get that done because, again, speaking of the pandemic, I just don't know. I have all the paperwork and everything done for the name change, which is becoming talking about feeling like shit. That's becoming such a pressing issue in my life because we were like going to do stuff with the house, and we just are opening a business, like all these things that are happening. And like, I have to see that fucking name all the time.
Yeah.
And it really does wear on you. Like, for people that are listening, I can tell you as somebody that I feel like I for whatever reason, I have the mental strength so far to be able to move, like to keep moving, but a lot of people can't. And I'm just telling people that like, this isn't like a group of what people like, people call snowflakes, or this isn't like fucking liberal shit. Like it's an actual feeling of like, it wears on you to deal with misgendering and dead, like the dead name stuff. And I just want to make that clear, because you know how it gets swept under this umbrella of us being, yeah, millennials, all that shit, that same narrative of shit. But yeah, because of this pandemic, like it's hard to like figure out when the court is open, and it's like a small window of time, and like coming up with the money, with all the money that we had to spend for businesses and all that. So I've been dealing a lot with that, and then working in the community. Like, I work with families, and I've been dealing a lot with that all of a sudden as well too, like random occurrences of misgendering from a kid or something.
You are so strong, powerful. I don't even know the right word. Like so powerful for working with families and children. I don't know how you do that. I would
awkward.
Never be able to, like, I would never be able to mentally deal with that, not for one day. So, like, I need to clap.
Oh, well, thanks. It pays well, so it's okay.
Like,
yeah, and you have to deal with, and the families change, you know. So like you have to deal with this every few months, or like it comes up, and you have family, like if you know, like, and you're like trying to explain. And I give resources, but like again, it's not up to us to always educate past what we can. Like I don't have the time. Plus, someone doesn't need to understand everything fully to just respect who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm making this YouTube channel too, because I'm gonna like have stickers when Snailmate goes on tour with my YouTube channel and stuff. When people start asking me personal like trans questions, I'm just gonna be like, "Here's a sticker. My YouTube's on there. You can like really need to know." I'm not gonna like keep repeating myself in person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same questions, like even at work, like everybody when I came out, like, "Oh, are you getting the surgery? This, that. What does this mean?"
It's
like,
so fucked up though.
I know, and it's just like I'm gonna put everything on this YouTube, and if you really want to know, you can take 10 minutes out of your day and like listen to one of my videos. I'm not like being trans is such a small part of like who I am and what I do and everything. I don't want every conversation to be about that when I go out and I'm trying to like enjoy myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where it starts to exhaust you.
It does, and it's like I have to educate all these people, and then I remember like my shrink would say like, "No, it's not your job to educate anybody on this stuff." Like whatever. But the last time before COVID, I went out to the show, and I think I spent more time explaining my coming out and stuff to people than I did like watching the bands. So many people were just going on, and just like it just wears on you in a weird way, but you also feel like guilt. Or at least I do. I feel guilty if I don't explain things.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of guilt. I don't feel necessarily guilty for not explaining. Sometimes I just feel guilty for my existence, period. Like the fact, like the fact that like I have to, it's just like a really complicated emotion of trying to it's so hard to explain because it's like I shouldn't feel bad about the fact that I look and sound a certain way, but I do, because I'm like, I'm sorry that I can't give you what you want me to give you, so you can treat me the way that I need you to.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. Luckily, I think the Gen Zs are going to fix most of this for the next generation, but there's so many things where it's like. Even like me, like I was taught, like we're all just taught how to treat people and how there's two ways. And like, it's really frustrating too that in school you're not taught about intersex people or any other type of identity. It's like boy or girl, and these are the stereotypes.
Yeah.
When no matter what someone's stance on trans people are, they can disrespect all day. One thing they can't do is deny that intersex people are in existence, like all over.
Yep.
And that's a whole nother thing. And they don't even get respect. And the fact that we're not taught any of this, if we were taught even just about intersex people, not trans people in school, that would open up everybody's mind to understand trans people a lot more based on the fact of them learning that there's more than two genders, like off the bat.
Which is fun. Learning in 2020. Thank you so much for listening to the first episode. Like I said, we want to try to keep things a little bit light, and I think they'll get even lighter if you're into dark humor, if you like to enjoy and laugh amidst tragedy and heartache, oppression. If that's your gig, ha ha ha, so funny. But in all seriousness, we hope that you out there can find this as a nice little safe space to escape for a little bit during your week. We plan to have an episode every week, and we need your help. We would love if you would submit questions. You will see the links on various Facebook groups on Facebook. You can email directly moodyblack@gmail.com. If you know how to spell that. Send us your questions. And we plan to build this podcast podcast around questions and answers that anybody has out there. We'll see you next week here on Transdemic.